Is the screen visible? Students, am I audible? Is the screen
Yes, sir.
visible?
Yes, sir. Visible, sir.
Okay, so good afternoon, students. Welcome back for the class on ad hoc and wireless sensor network. So, in this class, for this unit 1, we are discussing about the introduction about the ad hoc network, then issues of the ad hoc network, and we'll be discussing about the routing protocols of the ad hoc network. So, how the routing protocols are classified. So, this is all about the unit 1. So, in the last class, we have started with the introduction about the wireless network and the types of the ad hoc network, and we are still in the midway of issues of ad hoc network. As you know that, so it is a lengthy topic. We need to concentrate on the issues of the ad hoc network more. We have several issues starting from the mobility to the bandwidth allocation. We have several issues available. We are discussing one by one. So this is what you already discussed about the elements and the components. We'll straight away go to that particular topic. So we already completed the medium access scheme. We also completed the routing. Now we are in the issue of multicasting. As you know that each and every issue will have the subcategories. For example, if you take a medium access scheme, so these are the several issues that you need to look over for the medium access scheme. Similarly, for routing also we have discussed it. Okay. So we'll move on to the multicasting. So kindly anyone tell me what do you mean by multicasting? What is multicasting? We have discussed several times. Any answers? What is multicasting? What is multicasting? Students, kindly answer. So our session has to be interactive. Okay. So if you answer or if you cooperate, it will be very easy so that I can able to complete at the earliest. Sriranjani,
Yes, sir.
what is multicasting, ma?
Sir, sending data to many users at the same time.
Okay. What is broadcasting?
Sir, broadcasting means to every users, one to all.
Okay. What do you mean by many user and every user?
Sir, multicasting is one to many, sir, only to several users, but
Yes.
broadcasting means to every computers connected, sir.
Exactly. So the word, the several users, okay, not all. When you say all, it is said to be broadcasting. When you pinpoint only a group, it is said to be a multicasting. Okay, exactly. You have given a correct answer. Okay, so multicasting is a group that have a unique group identifier. So you can see in the figure, you have a group which is having a two colors. One is with the green, another one is with the yellow. So probably you may have all the nodes with yellow as the total number of nodes, and a particular group of nodes may be pinpointed by with a yellow in color. So if the node which is orange in color wants to convey a message in a multicast mode, it has to convey the message only to the group of nodes that are in a green color. Okay, so this is how you deal with the multicast nodes in a group of environment or a broadcasting environment. Okay, so in this case, any node may join or it may leave. Okay, so this may be the node that can able to join at any instant of time later on, and this is the node that may able to leave at any point of time. If it leaves, then the node which is nearby, they want to join, enter into the multicast group. Okay, so in a multicast group, any node can leave at any time instant. Okay. So in a manner, the physical topology change very often. That you know that you have a dynamic topology, or you can say the topology does not remain same. It will be keep on changing. Okay. So you cannot able to predict the exact topology at one instant of time. It may available with a particular topology. When time progresses, it may changes very often. So you need to take the topology change into an account and while designing a multicast protocol. So when you are going to design or choose any multicast protocol, you need to take that changing topology into consideration. Then it plays a role in the emergency rescue and the military operation. So normally this multicasting will be useful in the case of a emergency rescue and military operations. you may able to realize that in an emergency situation you will be having a group of people. You need to communicate with a group of people. We don't want to communicate with all the people, so in that case we'll go for the multicast. Only in a broadcast environment we will go for the all the users. For example, we want to communicate in a classroom, we need to interact with all the students. There we need to go for a broadcasting. But in this emergency rescue operation, we need not to convey with all people. We need to concentrate only a group of people. Okay, so we can use this multicasting. The node forms the groups to carry out the certain task. So these are the people who are in a green color. They will be assigned with a specific task to execute on. Okay, so here the power constraint and the bandwidth also plays a vital role, and this will be a very challenging, as you know that. So these two are considered to be a scarce resources. So as you know, the scarce resources plays a vital role in a wireless environment, that too in a ad hoc environment. So here also we have some issues available. First one will be the robustness. It is nothing but the withstanding capability. Okay, how quick you are, or how robust you are. So whenever you have any problem, so how you are going to react very fast. Okay, the withstanding capability, that is the robustness. Then the efficiency. So how much amount of packet you transmitted, how much you received with respect to a particular time instant or throughout the transmission. So that will give you the exact efficiency. So how it will be efficient to receive the data. Then control overhead, how minimum you are transmitting your data. So normally the control overhead, as you know that each router will maintain a routing table. When you have more control overhead, it indicates that you are carrying more amount of data along with your message. So you need to minimize. So routing table will occupies the memory. Okay, so we need to have a minimum control overhead. Then quality of service, that is the assured or the best effort delivery. So that will be considered one of the quality of service. Then group management. So far we have discussed with the unicasting. So only the individual nodes will take care. But here we need to go with a group management. So how the nodes involved in a group, they are efficient enough to execute a particular task. That has to play a vital role in the case of multicasting. Then scalability in security. What is called scalability? What is scalability? What is the scalability and why it is required to have a security here? Why these two parameters is very much essential? Any answers? Why scalability and security is needed here? Sangeeta, Shruti? Sangeeta, Shruti? Are you there, Sangeeta? Shankar Manigandan? Shankar? Shankar? Srina? Srina, are you there? Srina? Sindhuja? Sriram? Sriram, are you there?
Sir,
Yes, sir.
Yes. Sriram?
Sindhuja, sir.
Sindhuja, yes, Sindhuja. Can you answer why the scalability and security is needed, or what is called scalability?
Sir, it's like changing the things depending upon the needs, sir. Scalability means we are in the potential to modify the things in such a way it is also useful in future, sir.
Okay, you are partially right. Scalability in the sense that if we want to add more nodes or if we want to remove, normally we go for the addition of nodes in order to cover the larger area. Okay, so here we represent the scalability as the increasing the number of nodes. Okay, then what is the need for the security here? Why you need to be secured? I already told the answer. Why it need to be secured? Sridhar? Sriram? Sriram?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, Sriram. What is the need for security in ADA network, Sriram? If you know, you just tell me. Otherwise, you just say, I don't know, sir.
Sir, I don't know, sir.
Okay, so that is the best answer. Yeah, am I right, Sriram? Okay, Surya Prakash, Tangraj, Tangraj, are you there?
Sir,
What is the need for security, Tangraj? Do you have any idea?
sir, no.
Okay, as I told that any node can enter, any node can leave the network. Am I right? Am I right, Tangraj?
Yes, sir.
In a network, when that too in this multicasting network, any node can enter or any node can leave the network. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
If that is the case, if you are transmitting some data, if some unknown user or a stranger get into the network, if they are getting the data what you are transmitting, then whether your data will be safer enough to reach your destination?
No, sir.
No. So you need to have some security mechanism such that whoever enters, they cannot be able to take the data as you are transmitting. Okay, you need to provide some security mechanism. Otherwise, your data will be taken. Your data will be what do you say? You can say that it is exposed to the unknown user. Okay, that's why you need to have. You need to go with some security mechanism. Okay. Okay, so robustness, it is able to recover or reconfigure quickly. So what is the withstanding capability? If there is any failure, how you are going to react? Then how you are going to recover if you face any problems? Okay, how you are going to recover from the link break? Okay, under the dynamic environment. So that is said to be the robustness. Then efficiency, making the minimum number of transmission to deliver the data packet to all the group members. That is vital here. Okay, you need not to go with only one member. When you go with a unicasting, you'll go with only one member. So when you go with a multicasting, you need to ensure that all the members of the group receives the data. So that's why here efficiency plays a vital role. Then the control overhead, it is a scarce bandwidth. Okay, so you have a more demand when you go with more number of users. So minimal control overhead will go for the multicast session. So since we are going to transmit the data for a group of person, you need not to carry much amount of the control information. So it has to be minimum. Then the quality of service, the data transfer in a multicast session is a time sensitive. So you need to supply the data as it is expected by the end user. Okay, or you can say the data rate has to be specified or the guaranteed bandwidth or the delay. It should be have a minimum delay. It has to be ensured or fulfilled. So there comes the quality of service. Then group management efficiency. So accepting the multicast session members, maintain the connectivity until the session expires. This is vital. Okay, so how you are going to manage the group? You need to ensure that all the session members are involved. You are maintaining the connectivity for all the members. Once the session gets over, you have to ensure that all the members are alive or active until the session expires. It means that once the destination is reached by the packet after being transmitted by the sender, then you go for the disconnection, or you can say until the packet is expired in the network. You have to ensure that group management is alive. Then finally, you have the scalability and security. A network, scale for a network with a large number of nodes. When you go for large number of nodes, it ensures that you have a better coverage range. At the same time, you have complexity. So when you have more number of users, or you can say nodes, everyone will be started transmitting. So you have the more amount of network traffic, more amount of the shared resources will come into picture. Okay, so you have a better coverage, even though in spite of the coverage, you have the other problems associated with that one. Okay, the second one, security, that is authentication of the session members and the prevention of non-members. As we are discussing with the multicasting, if I want to join as a member, I cannot straight away join into the group. I need to request. Okay, I need to request the member head, or you can say the nearby user, to join into the group. Only if he gives the permission to join into the network, I can able to join into the network. That is how you have some authentication mechanism to enter into the group. So there comes some security. So this is a minimum level of security. I can say the first level of security for entering into the group. Okay. The next one will be the transport layer protocol. So multicasting over. So first one is the MAC, second one is the routing, third one is the multicasting, and fourth one will be the transport layer protocol. So far we are discussing about the issues of the ad hoc networks. Okay. So in that you have the connection. So connection is a vital parameter. So transport layer means you are going to transport your data from one source to the destination. Okay, that is said to be the transport layer. You are going for a transportation of data from one end to the other end. So for that you need to have a connection, or you can say a link has to be established. So it should be a reliable delivery of data packets. So when you go for the reliable delivery of data packets, if you face any traffic issue, you should have the flow control mechanism. If you face any congestion problem, you will be having the error control mechanism also that comes into the picture. You need to use a suitable congestion mechanism, that is controlling mechanism, such that you are minimizing the congestion. That is, you are, once it happens, you need to minimize, otherwise you need to prevent before it happens. Okay, so that is the case in which you will be going with the transport layer protocol. So when you go with this objective, you have some performance degradation with respect to these parameters. So you will be having a frequent path break, then you will be having a stale routing information. You may find that the route that have been entered may not be valid after a certain period of time. Okay, so you need to check whether it is correct or not. Then high channel error rates. So there may be a link in which when you are transmitting, there is a possibility that more amount of data gets lost, or the error rate is more. Then you have the frequent network partition. So what is the difference between path break and a network partition? Are both same? Students, kindly answer. What is the difference between path break and network partition? Is both same or different? Vidya Bharati? Yes, Vignesh. Vidya Bharati, are you there? Suganya? L. Suganya?
Sir,
What is the difference between path break and network partition? Are both same?
sir, path break means message which we are send that part, sir.
Okay. What is network
Then
partition?
network partition means network A, network B, like that, sir.
Okay, so normally when the network partition will happen, when will you have the network partition? Huh? Vishnu Pranavi? Vishnu Pranavi, are you there? When will you have network partition? Vishnu Pranavi, are you there, ma? Vishnu? D. Vishnu? Vishnu Kumar? I hope I am taking attendance, it seems. Tarun Kumar?
Yes, sir.
What do you mean by network partition, pa?
Don't know, sir.
You don't know. Okay, straight away you come to the answer. Huh? Okay, so normally the network partition happens when you are the node, when you are in a movement. When you are moving, normally you will be coming away from the nodes in which you are initially connected. Okay, so in that case, you have the network that you get partition. You will be joining into some other network. So your connectivity with the existing network will break. Okay, that is said to be a network partition. Normally the path break means normally you will be transmitting your data. There may be one or two paths available to reach the destination. You will be choosing the shortest path among the available path. So if that is the case, if you have the break available, or you can say a link failure that happens in the shortest path, you will go for the alternate path. So that is said to be a path break. Normally path break normally happens as you are moving, or when you are in the out of range of the coverage of a particular node, you will be having the path break, or when you have a scarce resources such as your energy, when your battery is running out of energy or it is drained out, you don't have any signal, so you will be having, even though you may stay or static in a particular instant of particular place, when you are drained out of battery, normally you will be like a dead node. So the dead node doesn't have any signal, so that you may not you identify by your neighbor. So in that case also you may have the path break. Okay, so these are considered to be the performance degradation as far as you are transporting your data from a source to destination. Are you clear now? So what is the difference between network partition and path break? So normally these two happens only when you are moving or because of drain out of resources. Okay, are you clear? Students, are you clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, Suganya. Okay, so the path break normally happens due to mobility and a limited transmission range. So when you are moving, you will be moving out of your coverage range. So you have the path break. So you need to find an alternate path, or you need to reconfigure the broken path. Okay, so reconfiguring the broken path might take a longer time. So as you know that delay should be very minimum in the case of the ADAC network, as we are battery operated. So the latency associated with the reconfiguration of a broken path use the root cache results in a stale route information. So it has to, latency plays a vital role here. The errors occurs due to channel noise or the presence of a hidden terminal. As in the last class we discussed about the exposed and a hidden terminal. This error normally happens because of this hidden terminals or the noise in the environment or the channel. Here the channel is said to be an open environment. Okay, so due to mobility, the isolation of the nodes will happen in the network. Isolation means that is the partition of nodes that happens mainly because of the node mobility, rather than the normally it happens when you have a drain out, battery is drained out. That also happen, but most of the cases when you are moving away from the network, that will happen. And the pricing scheme. So ADAC network function depends upon the presence of relaying nodes. So whenever you are using your data for transmission, you need to relay your neighbor. So if your neighbor is trustworthy, so you should have some mechanism such that you need to provide some incentives, or you need to provide some reimbursement. Okay, so that is the case in which you can able to that is you can able to encourage your neighbor to actively involved in the that is information transfer. Okay, so that is the relaying node is nothing but the node in which you are going to, or you can say the intermediate nodes are said to be the relaying node in which you depend on your data transfer. Okay, so the intermediate nodes in your path relay the data packets, expand their resources. Okay, so they will be spending their scarce resources such as the energy for what? For transmitting your data. Okay, so you need to have some incentives or some reimbursement such that they will be benefited for their usage of resources. Okay, so the battery charge and computing the power. Okay, so these things will be wasted by the intermediate node for transmitting your own data. So that is the there comes the pricing scheme. So the pricing schemes are incorporate the service compensation or the service reimbursement. So this is the vital role. So when you're going to trust something, that is the service they are rendering for you for your data transfer. So in order to acknowledge their service, you have to give some compensation or reimbursement. So that plays a vital role when you are in a multicast environment. Okay. So participation guarantee. See, normally when you provide some incentives or reimbursement, so it will attract the user to participate more in the network, such that they will be trustworthy, such that you can able to transfer your data to your distant destination. Okay, so the participation guarantee provides incentives for forwarding nodes. So the intermediate nodes are called forwarding nodes. The participation guarantee will be ensured once you have a better pricing scheme. Okay, so now can you able to understand what is the role of the pricing scheme here? Students, are you clear with the pricing scheme? Why should we go for pricing scheme? Subhashini? Subhashini, are you there? Subhashini, Stina? Stina? Bhavadarini? Bhavadarini, are you there? Sri Darshini. Yes, Bhavadarani. Bhavadarani, can you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Are you clear with the pricing scheme? Why should we go for pricing scheme? Are you clear with the pricing schema?
Hello, sir.
Are you clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what is the necessity of pricing scheme? Why should we go for pricing scheme? Why should we go?
Sir, for data packets,
Yes, come on. You just go ahead. Why should
sir,
we
for
go?
sir, pricing schemes provide incentives for providing notes and all, sir.
Okay, why incentives has to be provided for the nodes? Why should I provide the incentives?
So for participation grant,
Exactly. Why they need to participate? Why
sir,
the
to
nodes has to?
forwarding the notes.
Okay. So you will be transmitting as a source node. You may have a destination node at a farther end. So between you and your destination node, you will be having only the intermediate node. Only the intermediate nodes forward, you can able to receive the data by the destination node. So if I am the intermediate node, if I should work for you, you should provide some incentives. Okay, that is said to be the pricing scheme. Okay, so the pricing schemes plays a vital role unless you give some remuneration or incentives to the node in which they are utilizing their own battery. Okay, so if they are involving, they have their battery that may gets down or it may be drained down. So for that you need to go with some pricing scheme that will guarantee their participation in spite of their battery drain out, or you can say wasting their energy. Okay, that's why you should have a proper pricing scheme. Okay, the next one will be the addressing and service discovery. So the addressing should be globally unique and for participation in the communication. So you should have a whenever you go for any multicasting, you should have this global addressing scheme. Each user should have a unique address. Okay, then you should go for the auto configuration of the address. Okay, when any nodes enter into the networks, you will be automatically assigned into the address for that particular multicast group. Okay, so each group will have, as I in the first slide I have inserted that each group will have a unique multicast address. Okay, and required to allocate non-duplicate address to the node. So that is a vital parameter here. There should not be any duplicate address. So if you have any duplicate address, then you will be transferring the data to the two nodes simultaneously, in which you will be draining out of energy, and the bandwidth is also get wasted. So in order to avoid that one, we should go for the unique global addressing, and the duplication has to be eliminated. The network should be able to locate the services other than the node they provide. Okay, so it is a vital thing. Then identifying the current location of the service provider, it has to gather a vital importance, where you need to ensure that who are your neighbors, where I want to transfer the data, to whom, from whom I need to transfer. So these things plays a vital role here. Then provisioning of service demand, authentication, billing, and privacy. So this also plays a vital role when you go for any on-demand services like a video or a audio. You need to provide some billing schemes, or you can say so provision of charging has to be done. Okay, so you need to have some provision for the authentication, then billing, and a privacy. Okay, if they want some privacy, that is it comes under the category of a quality of service. Okay, so we'll be discussing later on. Then energy management. This is also a vital parameter, as you know that the energy is one of the scarce resources. It plays a vital role when you are operating in a wireless environment mode. Okay, so the process of managing the sources and the consumers of energy. So who are the consumers of energy? The nodes that are involved in a data transfers will be considered to be the consumers of energy, on enhancing the lifetime of the network. Okay, so you need to enhance your lifetime. You need to consume your energy, or you can say you need to go with some mechanism in which you can able to produce the energy. Okay, so that is the energy harvesting method. Okay, by using the solar panel, and there are a lot of mechanisms available for harvesting energy. So the energy management is a vital role. So when you are in a dense forest where there is no communication is possible. So in that case, you cannot able to replace your batteries in your mobile nodes. So there you should go with some alternate mechanism of reproducing your energy. Okay, so in that case, you should go with some energy harvesting mechanism. Okay, by using some solar panels or some wind energy. Okay, so those things will come into picture when you go discussing about the energy harvesting. Normally in a unit 2 and unit 3, we'll be discussing about the energy harvesting mechanism exclusively for the sensor nodes. Okay, so the shaping the energy discharge pattern of the nodes will increases the lifetime. Okay, so how the energy is discharged in the battery. Okay, you have to maintain a suitable mechanism, or you can say the management of the energy discharging plays a vital role when you want to increase the lifetime of that particular node. When your energy is drained out, the node becomes a dead node. So you need to, until you that is complete your transformation, that is your message that is being transmitted by the source node, you need to ensure that all the nodes have sufficient energy. Okay, so for that you need to ensure that you need to manage that how the energy is being drained out or it is discharging. The pattern as that you need to know. So for example, when you take any mobile phone, when you play any game, automatically your energy will drain out very fastly, rather than when you send any SMS or the text message, or when you use a Wi-Fi connectivity, normally your energy will drain out. So this is said to be the pattern. So the application that you use more will drain out. So you need to know the pattern such that which consumes more amount of energy, so that you can increase the lifetime of your node. Okay, that is the battery. So you need to identify the route with the minimum total energy consumption in the network. This is a vital information. That's why you are going for any routing protocol. You need to choose a routing protocol such that it consumes a minimum energy and a minimum weightage. Okay, that is the shortest path. Then handling the processor and interface devices to minimize the power. So whatever the information that you have with your node, those things has to be processed. So if you are using a processor, it also consumes energy. So you need to choose a processor such that it consumes the minimum power. So those things will all come together or put together, comes under the energy management scheme. So when you go with energy management, so there are certain schemes available. So that is the classification. That is why they are called as the energy management classification. Under that, you have the transmission power management. You involved with the transmission of a data package. There comes the power management. Next one, battery energy management, processing power management, device power management. So these four put together called the energy management classification. So we'll be discussing one by one. Okay, so when you say that transmission power, you need to select a device that consumes a very minimum power for the transmission. Then the battery management, you have to select a device such that it consumes less amount of energy, or you can say normally when you purchase any component in the local market, it may consume more amount of energy. So when you consume hi-fi equipment, sophisticated equipment, you may able to consume less amount of energy. So based upon our application, you need to procure those components. Okay. Then deployment consideration. This is also plays a vital parameter. Deployment is nothing but placing the nodes, or you can say for our application, how you are going to make use of the nodes. Okay, that is said to be the deployment. A good amount of planning and estimation of the future traffic growth is very much required at the current scenario. Okay, so planning is a vital with respect to the increase in the number of nodes when you will have a more amount of traffic. So ad hoc wireless networks have the following benefits. You can say you have the benefits available when you go with that one. Low cost of deployment. Why you have a low cost of deployment? Do you have any answers? We have a statement as an advantage. Low cost of a deployment. What is the deployment? Why it is reduced in the cost? Any answers? Why you have a reduction in the cost for? Vidya Bharati? Vidya Bharati, are you there? Yes,
Sir, yes, sir.
Why you have a low cost for deployment? Deployment means I have already told that you are going to place the nodes in the particular area or the particular geographical area. That is called deployment. Why we have low cost for deployment? Do you know? You just think of.
Don't know, sir.
Okay, we are operating in a wireless environment. We don't need any infrastructure. So that is, you need not to build any tower or access point. So you do not have any cables. So you don't require all those things. So that's why you have minimum cost. Okay, you can be able to go with any your PDA or your mobile phone or your laptop. That doesn't involve with much cost. Okay, so that's why you have a low cost for the deployment. If you take any laptop to a particular environment, it assumes that you have deployed a particular node in the particular geographical area. Likewise, if you form a 4 laptops or a 4 PDAs, it forms a network with no infrastructure, and the involvement of the cost is very less, or you can say no cost is involved there. Okay, so now are you clear, Vidya Bharati? Vidya Bharati, are you clear with the question
Sir.
that I asked? Are you clear with the answer?
Sir, yes, sir.
Okay, ma. The incremental deployment. So when you go with more number of nodes, you can have a better coverage. Then short time for the deployment. So when you involve with any deployment for the ad hoc node, the time required is very minimum. Very quickly we can able to deploy the nodes. Then reconfigurability. Okay, you can able to reconfigure node very easily. Okay, so that is spontaneous. You can able to do that one. Then when you go for deploying, here also there are certain issues available. First one, the scenario in which you are deploying. So where you are going to deploy, whether you are deploying in a hilly region or in a dense forest or in a rescue operation. So that is the first thing that comes into picture. Then military employment, when you employing the military in the ad hoc networks are employing the military cases, has to pass certain requirements. Then emergency operation, then commercial wild area deployment, home and network deployment, area of coverage. If you want to cover more area, there you have some certain deployment cases. Then service, based upon the service you are going to provide, there is some difference available. Then operational integration with other infrastructure. So how we are going to integrate with suppose we are operating in a wireless environment, how we are going to integrate with a wired environment. So there also we have some there is parameters that need to consider when you go with wired and wireless hand to hand. Okay, so that's all about the issues that you have discussed there. Just we'll have a look over there. So what are things that we have considered so far with relevant to the issues? Okay. So first we discuss about the media access, routing, multicasting, transport layer, pricing scheme, then quality of service, self-organization, security, energy management, addressing, scalability. Finally, we are discussing about the deployment. When you put all together, it will be asked in a 14-mark question, or in a certain cases they will be asking separately to answer these questions. Okay. So now we'll come to the activity. So we have a quiz activity. So you need to answer for this. Okay, so what changes in network over a time as the mobile devices add or leave the network? Normally, what changes in a network? You just listen the question carefully. What changes in a network over a time as mobile devices add or leave the network? We have pointed out certain issues. Okay, you need to answer for this question. What are the changes that took place in a network over a time as the mobile devices add or leave any network? Answer for this question. Any answers? Sweta? So far for the past 2 classes, we are discussing about the issues. So we have a question which can cover all the issues. I need some answers. Suganya? Suganya?
Sir.
What is the answer, ma? Are you understand? Are you clear with the question?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what changes in a network over a time when you add any mobile devices or when you leave the network? What will happen? What will happen? We have discussed a lot about this thing. When you add into the network, what will happen? If any node enter into the network, what will happen, ma? இப்போ நெட்வொர்க்ல ஒருத்தர் ஜாயின் பண்றாங்கன்னா என்ன நடக்கும்? சுகன்யா, are you there? What will happen? What will happen? What will happen, Suganya? Whether you know or not?
Don't know, sir.
That is the answer that normally you people will reply. Okay. Any answers? Any answers? Saptapriya? Saptapriya, are you there? Saptapriya? No answer, Saptapriya. Sangeeta? Sangeeta Shruti? Sabari? Are you there? Yes, Sabari? Yes, Sabari? Rogini?
Yes, sir.
What happened for the past few classes? You didn't attend the class, it seems. Rogini?
Sir, yes, sir.
Okay, so you just tell me the answer. If you know the answer, you can tell me. Do you know the answer?
Sir, don't know, sir.
Okay, so I'll tell the answer. So the changes when you enter into the network, first thing the topology will change. Second, you can able to improve your coverage range so that you may add the node in between, or you can say the intermediate nodes will come into picture. Okay, so the second thing, that is a positive aspect. When you see, look at the negative aspect, there is a possibility that when you leave the network, you may have a network partition. Okay, you need to find a link break may happen. You need to find an alternate path. Okay, you need to retransmit the data. There is a wastage of your bandwidth as well as the energy. So this is the changes that normally will happen when any node enter into the network or any node leaves the network. Are you clear now, Rogini? Rogini, are you clear?
Yes.
Okay, so we move on to the next question. What are the advantages of mobile ad hoc network? These things you can say. What are the advantages of mobile ad hoc network, Sangeeta? Anyone? Those who know, they can answer. What are the advantages of mobile ad hoc network? Those who know, they can answer. If I put the question in this way, no one will answer. Am I right? Shankar Maniandan, are you there? Srina, Shirin Fatima. Shirin Fatima, are you there? Shirin?
Yes, sir.
What are the advantages, ma? Advantages of ad hoc network, what are they? We have discussed a lot. You just tell me one or two.
Just security, stability.
Security, do you have any security with ad hoc network? Are the ad hoc networks or nodes stable? They will be keep on changing. They may enter, they may leave. You cannot say they are secure, they are stable. What are the benefits that you have? Scalability is the benefit. Then installation you can have, that is deployment. You have a better deployment. That's why we have discussed it just a few minutes ago. You have a better deployment. Yes, mobility. Mobility is one of the advantages. At the same time, it will be having the same disadvantages. Then what are the others? The application of the ad hoc network is a vital. Okay, so those are the advantages. Finally, why a mobile ad hoc network are less secure? Why mobile ad hoc networks are less secure? Any answer? Soundarya? Soundarya, why mobile ad hoc networks are less secure? Why mobile ad hoc networks are less secure? Soundarya, are you there? Sridarshani? Sridarshani?
Yes, sir.
Okay, why it is less secure, ma?
Sir, the nodes can easily join and leave and move inside the network, sir. So
Okay,
if there is any problem in the node, it could be affect all the network, sir. So it is insecure.
it is less secure. Okay, you are correct. So any nodes can enter, any nodes can leave. So whenever they are entering into the network, they can able to take away the private information that is being transmitted. So that's why they are considered to be less secure when compared with the wired networks. Okay. So that's all for this class about the issues. So we'll move on to the next topic, that is applications of ad hoc network in the next class. So as I pointed out earlier before starting the class, I want to know the students who are willing to take the seminar. Okay, so I will share the slides for now. The topic that you have planned, that you will be planning for this seminar. Okay. Okay, so as pointed out by Tarun Kumar, will be taking this AODV, ad hoc on distance vector routing. Okay, then Vishnu Pranavi, you will be discussing about the sensor network scenario. Vishnu Pranavi, are you there?
Yes, sir.
You just make a note of it. You will be taking on sensor network scenarios. Okay,
Yes, sir.
there are different scenarios available. We will be discussing in the class. After I'll complete the class, you just take that. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, who is the next one who is going to take on unit 345? Challenges and issues in transport layer protocol. Who is going to take? I need some students. One boy and one girl already finalized their slot. I need others too. Anyone? Shirin, last time also you told me that you will be taking, but you didn't take that one seminar last time. Shirin Fatima. Shirin, are you there? Shirin Fatima. Sridarshani. Shirin. Yes. Can you take the third topic, third unit, last topic? Challenges and
Sir,
issues in a transport layer protocol as your seminar topic.
sir, no, sir.
Why? Then what is the other what is the topic that you want to have?
Sir, so let others take, sir, this time.
Last time you didn't take, no?
No, sir.
You are given your name, but you didn't take that last time.
Sir, there was not class available, sir.
So online you can able to take. For this time we have sufficient time. Okay. You are not willing to take. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then Suganya. Suganya, are you there?
Sir.
Whether you are ready to take anything?
Sir, no, sir.
Why everyone is hesitating? Someone has to come forward now.
Yes, sir.
You people will take initiative. Then why you are hesitating to take? I am here to help you. Okay. So I give the materials. I will provide the materials. You just go with the materials. Okay. Suganya,
Sir.
you can go with the materials. I will be providing you the materials. Okay.
Sir, no, sir.
Okay. Stina, are you there? Stina, Tanusri, Tangaraj.
Sir.
Are you ready to take anything, Pa?
Sir, let's give chance to others, sir.
You're indirectly saying that I am not interested. Am I right? Okay, you discuss with your classmates. Otherwise, I need to pinpoint someone. Okay. And kindly let me know before today evening. Okay, we'll finalize the seminar slot. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Thank you, students. Thank you for your patient listening. Already 2 slots have been booked. Only the 3 slots have to be fixed from unit 3, 4, 5. I require your cooperation for the seminar. So by today evening, you just convey your willingness with on the topic to Tangaraj. So he will be conveying to me. Okay. Thank you, students.